Well, good evening. I'm Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom. Tonight's tonight's podcast is 7 ways why empire expansion dissolves the limitations of team building and the culture of team buildings. The difference between empire expansion and team building cultures is empire expansion amplifies the sovereign signal of your innovative wisdom, as team building dampens your wisdom. Expansion thrives on distinct voices and visionary deliverance, as team building often smooths the edges to maintain cohesion and stay inside the uh, same mindsets. And see, team building is built on mindsets. And something about mindset is mindset comes from yesterday. It's all about uh, thinking and knowing. It keeps you in the same mindsets of your viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, ancestor anchors, and your childhood. That's the thing about mindsets. There's nothing liberating and there's no free flowing energy, and it's really just a locked and blocked area in your life. As empire expansion invites sovereign ignition of your intuitive innovations, as team building enforces collective collaboration, as one sparks individual mastery towards a shared horizon, the other aligns behavior to fit in pre-written scripts. And that's what team building does. It sets inside and keeps you inside whatever the corporation's uh, uh, mindset is, but also what the corporation rules and regulations and everything about it. Why team building cultures are controlled by cognitive recollections, mindset resistances, and comfort zone programming. They orbit the cognitive recollections, recycling, mindset resistance, and comfort zone programming stimulate connection while avoiding ignition of your innovations. And that's the thing about cognitive recollections. We live inside them. When you want to change something, heal it, you keep them cognitive recollections staying the same. And that's something I really opened up to. And mindset resistance is mindset are, well, I call my mindset's my stubborn stupidity. For me, that's not because I want to stay the same and I have to be right in my mindsets. And then it comes down to my comfort zone programming from my parents, the childhood, my education, and all that. It just avoids me from rising out of yesterday. And that is the same thing with anything. Cognitive recollections and your mindset resistance and comfort zone programming, they never allow you the free flowing energy to expand, to rise, shine, and energize your wisdom. They want to stay stuck in their comfort zone, and whatever is going on right here, that's all they want. And why empire expansion is free flowing enterprising prowess. Empire expansion unleashes your enterprising power because it flows from within, or intuition architects your life. Energy leads your sovereign leadership to rise, shine, and energize as your innovation bypasses permission. See, we're always seeking permission from other people. Oh, this in cultural, well, I'm guilty of this, but in culture and cultures and team building thinking, you're looking for permission from other people. As an empire expansion, you're energizing your own innovative, keen wit, and enterprising wizardry. Why empire expansion contours. Contours instead of barriers. And that's something I awakened to the last week. But contours, the world is built on contours. The landscape is a contour. And everything is a contour, but it's free flowing energy. It's like when you set a boundary, you're at a dead end. But when you can open up to a contour, you can allow your energy to surround it, and you can listen to your daily life. You can open your listening eyes and your seeing ears to hearken the wisdom, insight, and audacity to dissolve that barrier. So why empire expansion contours awakens communication connection through life and all people, business and personal life. Empire expansion is contours that speak beyond the language of the corporation or your life. It's a liberating lingo of liberating internal nirvana, galvanizing optimism. Liberation is realizing life is liberating invitations. That's what any challenge is, a life liberating invitation. And as a contour speak beyond the language and transmit the essence, never just the words, inviting vibrant energy across the culture, species, and soul stream, it opens a way for people to speak from their core rather than from their knowledge. Once we open up to knowledge, we stay stuck in yesterday. Knowledge, thinking, knowing, memories, learned, thoughts all come from yesterday. They're all locked and blocked in what occurred yesterday. That's the thing about free flowing. And when you realize you're a free flowing energy, you let go of being stuck in the muck of yesterday. If you look at the world today, you basically get today's news is the same as yesterday. That's something I noticed in my own life. And when you start telling stories about what happened to you, how does each story get a little more embellished and become more fictional than ever before? Oh, I ain't saying I'm the best at it, but I'm pretty good at that. You want to embellish the story to feed the ego. But when you open up to massage the spirit, you take everything into 10 to 12 words. As expansion echoes through present moment, you begin to ignite the light of your life, and the savvy signal of your enterprising wizardry ripples an awakening of free-flowing foresight frequencies of your unique talents. You know, that's something I really like. How does that feel? Empire expansion contours, awakens. That's where friction becomes fuel. Resistance reveals the next portal of prowess for me to move forward. Contours dissolve the control of my thinking memory mind, opens the fluidity, and dissolves the rigid, frigid mindsets within me, birthing my bold, enterprising, rebellious, transcending hellraiser intuition, naturally galvanizing my whys to expand through life with ease. See, that's the thing. It's about contours dissolve the control. Open up the fluidity of your forthright frequencies, ignites your foresight to light your light of life. Liberating lingo liberates. Original term that unlock the original worlds of your wisdom, optimism, realizing life discernment streams, your extreme, free-flowing, enterprising prowess. You can listen to prowess, but you think in power. And what you think, you stink. Prowess wows you out of yesterday. As presence is the prowess that liberates you from you, and as you liberate you from you, expansion follows the frequency of now. Inquiry disrupts obedience. That's the thing about team building cultures. They're obedient to the powers to be. As empire expansion, is a little more troublemaking and a little more free-flowing, enterprising wizardry for people to rise, shine, and expand through situations. As inquiry disrupts obedience, questions carve new sovereign pathways of enlightenment, chauffeuring you onto your trails of triumph. The ritual roots that signal your sovereign savvy embody the energy of the invisible inklings of your desired lifestyle. This is my favorite, though. Failure fractures illusion. Collapse clears space for the clarity of your natural born talents. Energetic leadership is the verb open the way for influence to flow from vibration, never the position. That's the thing. Life is, we're a vibrating energy. And like I was on a podcast today, how do we know we're humans? Humans come from a book. And anything that comes from a book written by somebody else, is that facts or fiction? Who says I have to be a human? I'm a free-flowing energy with the spiritual prowess and innovative talent to rise, shine, and energize who I am. Contours invite innovation. As boundaries, limitations, fear, insecurity become bridges to my dreamers' paradises. That's the thing. Everything is an awakening. And if you can open up to understand that and admire that, you can rise out of yesterday. What we're here to do is dissolve our ancestor anchored survival mode thinking. We're here to innovate today's trend-setting optimism, dawning appreciation, yesing I'm a blessing, boldly experienced in life. As my innate wisdom dares me to unmake the knowing, it becomes dangerous to the system of socialized brainwashing, opens my troublemaker magic, as I'm a troublemaker with a magician's mystique. I'm a troublemaker with a magician's mystique because I am unique. So I unleash my unique talents to rise, shine, and enterprise. Expansion is a pulse, never a plan. And what they mean by pulse is it's the radiating revelations within you. You express to the world, rise you to your beaches of bountiful bliss. And as expansion moves in spirals, never in steps. And that's why when somebody says they got a step program, they never go anywhere. When anybody says program, that's from yesterday. But your innovative spirals rise you to your liminal carpet glide to float around the world with a smile of gratitude and a grin of appreciation. Liberation loves the edge. The frontier is where the signal gets loudest. And that's the thing. When you rise to your free-flowing empire expansion, you're at the edge, and that's where your innovative, witted grit, get and go expresses the loudest, liberating optimism, unleashing dreamers' energy, streaming trend-setting savvy to you for you to color your world with fashion designer dexterity. Why team-building cultures are unrealized hindrances. And I'm not saying, all I'm doing is speaking from a different way of looking at what you do. And whatever suits you is good for you. I never liked the status quo. And something for me is whatever somebody's expressing from a book or knowledge or any of that, that's a hindrance from yesterday. Why team building cultures are unrealized hindrances. They're forced unity that mutes the communication and connection within the people. Conformity crushes individual innovation and stops the expression of people's individual wisdom, insight, and clarity. This is the big one for me. Team building is obedience masquerading as collaboration, thinking we're really doing something, but really we're staying the same. How many times have you went to a team building and you come back 3 days later, like nothing happened? You can never go in to a team building meeting with the same mindset, thinking, and knowing, and leaving with the same thinking and knowing and mindsets, because that meeting's already has a mindset of egotistical encumbrances. And there's one person, and there's people in these meetings that have to have it their way. I know that because I was one of them. I love this admitting to me to set me free. Because you think you know your way to yesterday, and you know it all ignorance controls today. And I was on that podcast today. And I said, yeah, if it wasn't for my egotistical arrogance, know it all ignorance, stubborn stupidity, hard headed hierarchy thinking, and my having to be right, I'd have never had a challenge. I could open my listening eyes, my seeing ears, and hearkened all the wisdom to forever set me free. Because compliance is mistaken for connection. And roles, everybody gets in there and you got to roll this, roll that, becomes a cage of rage. Because, I want it my way. No, it's my way. You're wrong, I'm right. There is no communication and no energizing prowess. And you're right, I'm wrong, in the right and wrong world. It's just a gong show of never go. Roles become and block fluid contribution, safety over sovereignty. Team building cultures are comfort zone, preventing energetic ignition of anything because, well, the corporate constitution says this. Well, the pathway is outside of the Constitution. How is corporate regulations the limitation stopping the free-flowing energy of the corporation? Scripts of yesterday replaced the here and now as predefined exercises dull the vibrant energy of the room. How many of you have been in a team building meeting and somebody has a good idea, but it gets shot down because it ain't the boss's or the head honcho's idea? Then 6 months later, they come back with that idea. Oh, pick me. I've seen that many a time. As thinking and knowing is feedback loops that echo control, constructive criticism often reinforces a hierarchy thinking and knowing. Inclusivity dilutes intensity. Broad appeal can flatten deep frequencies of foresight. The thing that we open our, because everything that's going to expand you or rise you out of the situation is beyond your comfort zone programming. And that's what the world lives in, is comfort zone programming. When somebody says they have a program, I scram, because that program is within their thinking, knowing, memory, mind. Team spirit is masked as energetic drain. Cheerfulness hides burnout and misalignment. Everybody's sitting in there cheering, yeah, and then it always, no, it never goes. How do people leave a team building meeting in a discouraging mindset? Consensus cancels contour agreements, erases the edge where the veracity of foresight lives. How do we stay inside our thinking, knowing mind, but yet we try to change this, change that, but we stay the same? Oh, I've witnessed that in my own life. And what I really like about doing these, and I do use a lot of, me and AI do this, because it comes up with stuff that is beyond my thinking, memory, mind, but it's in my intuition. And you know something, I was at this. I used to think AI was terrible, but AI is something I can question, and it gives me some different ways until I find something that awakens me and energizes me. But I also am watching it so I don't become uh, reliant on AI. Connection, and see that's the thing about team building. It dissolves communication and connection. Connection is stimulated, never felt. It's a ritual of less bonding, lacks soul, spark, and never ignites your light of life. As I realized, empire expansion dissolves the limitations of team building with sovereign clarity. As team building organizes people, empire expansion energizes people's energy and their enterprising prowess to rise out of that. While empire expansion energizes, this is the biggest thing I'm starting to really understand. Empire expansion energizes communication and connection throughout the life, the workforce. And here's the thing it is. Expansion energizes your core signals of clarity. As the empire expands, vague talk dissolves, and teams must express with an enterprising precision and with a visionary vibrancy. As now frontiers, I don't use the word new no more. I use the word now. As now frontiers awaken with a shared purpose, expansion invites people to sync their gifts of intuition, imagination, and inspirations, bridging silos with sovereign collaboration. That's the thing about empire expansion. When you say empire expansion, what do you feel? When you say team building, what do you feel? While team building is controlled by few and unknowingly alienates most of the people in the room, leadership scripts override the enterprising signals and the savvy of people. A few decide how the whole, while others suppress their natural ways of connection and communication. How do you see that in a room in team building cultures where few talk, everybody else listens, and people leave discouraged because they don't feel like they're part of it? But in enterprising with empire expansion and the contours, everybody gets a chance to express their ideas without being in the controlled way of the leadership. Unity is engineered. And that's what the thing about team building is. Unity is engineered, never an enterprising energy. And it forces cohesion, ignores the wild, canny contours of individual, vibrant foresight. And obedience is masked as inclusion. Participation becomes a performance. Alienation hides behind the team's smiles. How do you hide your smiles when you're in a team building setting? Why empire expansion energizes a workforce to participate with wisdom and clarity. As empire expansion energizes communication, enticing the workforce to participate with their wisdom and clarity, broadcasts the purpose of the meeting and what everybody wants to come out of here. Never speaks about tasks. People align with their vision and never their obligation. As empire expansion activates inner authentic authority, each contributor becomes a sovereign signal, never a cog in the bogged down way of life. As empire expansion dissolves hierarchy BS into free flowing energy, wisdom circulates freely, and clarity becomes contagious. And everybody is wanting to express their liberating ideas. As empire expansion invites innovative verb over the roles, facilitation and participation emerges from the people through harmonized communication and connection among the people and the workforce as a whole, moving the world and the company out of the doldrums and into the innovative flow of who they are. As enterprising as empire expansion awakens accomplishment and an attitude expressing clarity rises when contribution feels like an innovation instead of innovation. Why team building steals ingenious ideas from people. Empire expansion rises as team building is structured script following the hierarchy plans. Cultural condition teaches collaboration through conformity. Empire expansion channels innovation through clarity. As I rise and never be consensus into yesterday, but by conviction. And the one thing I really understand is why team building cultures unknowingly create an obedient workforce being apprehensive about speaking their innovative wisdom to the world. Safety is mistaken for sameness. When harmony is prized over heat, bold ideas when people have an innovative conversation that gets a little heated, that's when the bold ideas come, because it's a collection of wisdom and wise ideas will move a company forward. All one person's ideas stall a company out. Innovation threatens the team concepts. Speaker sovereign wisdom risk disrupts the scripted direction of a team culture meeting. And that is the thing about all of this. This is about people rising and expressing their wisdom for the collection, for the cognitive collection for everybody's highest outcomes. And I want to thank you. I am Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, and may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me in the world.